At Service Logic, we believe the future of the skilled trades lies in training and development. And that's why we created The Edge, a platform dedicated to empowering our greatest assets, our people. From hands-on training to leadership development, Edge is where technicians grow their skills, expand their opportunities, and build lasting careers. Because when people succeed, our companies, our customers, and our industry thrive. This is The Edge. This is the future of the skilled trades.
I chose iConnect training equipment because I already previously had some iConnect training equipment. And I was very pleased with the equipment I had, the quality of it, and pre-designed labs that came with it. So when I expanded it more into the catalog, I decided I wanted to get this refrigeration trainer in my program to expand my program. My experience so far using the TU-155 has been pretty good experience, especially my second year students. And the light bulb kind of syndrome goes off when you see that little flicker in their eye and oh, I got it. That's what us instructors, what we look for is the I got it moment. And this helps me to the I got it moment with my students, and that's what's my goal to achieve.
We are Daikin, the #1 global indoor comfort provider. Our innovative home and building solutions are engineered with energy efficiency and sustainability at their core, ensuring improved indoor air quality for all. From heating and cooling to ventilation, air purification, refrigeration technologies, and connected devices, we're at the forefront of technology, addressing the pressing challenges of sustainability.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on Did You Know, the ESCO HVAC show. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that we're going to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed because all three of us are ready to hop in here. Les and I just got back from AHR. I've literally been home like 25 minutes. It was a rush to get here. It's been a long few days. We got some highlights that we're going to share with everyone about AHR if you weren't there. And then we're going to dive into some things that have changed in the industry that not everyone has realized. And I'm so grateful for you all joining us today. We've had an entire conversation going on here in the chat before the show even began. So everyone, let us know where you're joining from. If you have any questions, any comments along the way. Garrett, I appreciate you joining us today. And we'll try to get to all the highlights before the top of the hour so that we can get everything in there for you before you have to head out. And Bart, man, I'm telling you what, I absolutely want to have this conversation, right? This entire live show, podcast, this community that we are building, it is an inclusive community, right? We are here to support each other, and we are here to make each other better. And you and I are going to have this conversation. I promise that is something that we are going to bring up. Now, David, thank you for joining us. Man, I bet, were you out there at AHR, David? I figured you probably were. And there were so many people I was trying to catch up with. I just didn't even have a chance. Les and I a couple of times walked by and were like, hey. And the next day, it's like, hey. Finally got to catch up on the third day. Paul, oh man, I'm telling you, it was like 70 when I left this morning in Las Vegas, and it's like 22, 23 out right now. It's not great. Oh, okay. I don't feel so bad then. So you got to hang here and not have to reacclimate to these temperatures. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. You know, we always have a great time talking about the industry. You guys are really carving into a place that is so needed in our industry right now. And I think since Garrett is going to be leaving here in a little bit, Garrett is an educator at Ivy Tech down here in Indiana, and a lot of times is even playing the show live in the classroom with the students. So very dedicated to this community.
Nice.
So yeah, it's fantastic. We have a lot of educators join us that are trying to stay up to date with what's happening. And that's one of the reasons like Les and I are at AHR is like, see what's happening. Like, where do we need to position ourselves to make sure that as businesses, we're staying ahead of the curve. And as educators, we're making sure that we're bringing you everything that you need to be prepared for change. So I think, guys, we really ought to spend some time on this regulatory shift because I think it came and people didn't even know it was coming.
Yeah.
It's like the slow down, the speed reduce the head signs, right? And you keep going, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm like 25 over.
Exactly.
Didn't pay attention to those, and then there it is, right? It just started January 1st, and with the stuff that's out there, it's still no one got out in front of it in large degree.
Absolutely. Oh man, Osvaldo, we think that we had it nice down in Las Vegas. Osvaldo's joining us from Belize. Like, he's the one that's got it made. He's got the ocean breeze. He's got.
Well, I was going to say, it's nice of you to put on long sleeves for the audience today that might be colder, since it was shorts and t-shirt weather in Vegas.
Wasn't it though? Oh, it was so nice. So nice. Well,
and in Phoenix.
Oh, so are you in Phoenix, Adam?
Yep. And I didn't end up going to AHR. I had to stay home. Managed to kind of catch a cold instead of catching a flight, but
yeah,
so it is
that time of the year. There's a lot of people who are out sick. I'm sure there'll be a lot that get sick coming back. You know, there's probably 50,000 people there. So Osvaldo, what we're talking about is a major conference. They do have one though that is in Mexico that is a really good one that I've not been to. I keep seeing a lot of pictures and would love to go to that one sometime. And so, oh yeah, you're right. So Garrett, we are almost there. So ESCO is very active with the EPA on looking at what is going to be the updated test bank for the next version or the next rendition of the EPA 608. Because remember, if we looked back at subsection H of the AMAC, the EPA was given the authority to investigate and implement a separate training for the safe handling of low GWP refrigerants. And so there was this dilemma, right? Are we going to have a separate training? Are we going to implement it into the EPA 608? Is it going to be a type 4? What's it going to be? Right now. So we're doing a lot of industry input. Jason Abjute from our team is like 50 hours a week just focusing on what's happening on the refrigerant side with the EPA. So yes, there is going to be some type of change coming soon. And once we get there, we'll be able to have that conversation with you. And as educators, get you all the prep materials, just at a flip of a switch. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. So that's on the EPA 608 side. Now, if you all remember, refrigerant tracking was especially on the commercial side, 50 pounds was always like the rule of thumb. At 50 pounds, you're now a record keeper. Well, we're going to show you some resources. So guys, go ahead and direct me through. I'm at the FM Hero website. For all of you that are joining us, I'm just screen sharing. I want you to see where these resources are. Let's start on some documentation to be able to share with the group.
Yeah, Clifton, if you go to the Resource Center, we'll go down. There's 2 new articles we kicked out in the last couple of weeks. One is for equipment owners, and the other is for contractors. So either one of those 2 most recent ones, there's also other stories in here and other content we published, but those compliance guides are really helpful. One of the things that we've been hearing is people say, well, the rules are complicated. I don't even know where to find them. And you hear about 608. If I Google 608, I don't see all these detailed rules. And so it's a little bit complex the way the government does this, right? Congress says, hey, here's a law that we're going to pass. Then the whether it be the EPA or FTC or whoever it is, right? One of the alphabet soup organizations or groups picks that up and then says, now we're going to turn this into regulations. So they have a law and then they have to actually write regulations on that law. And so we have the CFRs, and that's where all of these rules, these regulations come from. And so what we did is we said, hey, it's really confusing. We got to simplify this down. No, there's nothing, it's important to point out that like any guide, there's more in the 1,000 pages that you can read of the regulation itself. But the highlight reel, and then being able to link that right back through. So why don't you click on that one for me, and I'll kind of give an idea for people to see what we're talking about. If you scroll down a little bit, it'll walk through, and you'll see all over the place these little orange links where we're driving right back to the actual regulations. So you can read the summary of it. It's in plain English. It makes sense. And then if you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't seem right.
Where's that?
We're citing it right back in. So,
and you're right.
This is all free. It's not gated. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to give us your, top secret email address, the spam one you use to register for stuff. We don't care. We're giving it to you for free because we just want to help raise the level of education in the industry.
Well, it's really hard to be in compliance if you don't understand the rules, you don't know where to go, and you just don't even a lot of times know where to start. So we got the information out there for you. So it's completely broken down for you and gets you a starting block, whether you use FM Hero or something else. You need to be doing this because it's real and it's live right now.
Yeah.
We're already plus 30 days into it.
January 1st, 2026. That's what most people don't realize. Like, this has already been implemented. It's not one of those things where, maybe the current administration is going to throw this to the wayside for us and we don't have to worry about it. That's not the case at all.
Yeah,
that's right. It's in play. It's live and it's real. And the part that kind of, the biggest gotchas for those folks who are, on a tight timeline today are, I won't say gotchas, but the kind of the most critical pieces of this are, it's 15 pounds or more. So the meat of the regulation revolves around larger pieces of equipment. And like you said before, Clifton, it was the 50 pounds and bigger. They brought that threshold down to 15 pounds or larger. Now, there's still a whole bunch of regulations for all the guys who are working on residential or even small appliance, there's a bunch of stuff there too. So, if you're already kind of thinking, hey, this isn't really my area, if you're in the smaller equipment world, the contractor guide will walk you through all the rules about what you can do with scrap, what documentation you need to make sure you get from your scrapper. What do you have to do when you send gas for reclaim? All of the things that you might care about. We can get into some of that too if we need to, but for the sake of the biggest shift, it's that 15-pound mark. And so when you start digging into that, I mean, the part that really is crazy is that there's stuff that your equipment owners have to know about their piece of machinery right now, even before the first wrench is turned. So before, there's a standard here, and that's what do you need to know about the equipment, that we start right with that, because step one is you got to know some basics about your equipment. And right out of the regulations, there's all the things in that list there that you have to know, your client has to know, your customer has to know about their machine. And that's before you, like I said, before you ever put a set of gauges on it, before you ever add gas, remove gas, anything, before you touch the machine, this is what you have to know. And you have to have that in an audit-ready format, meaning if they walk in, at the site, they have to be able to access that information and provide it to an auditor. And that's today. It's already the way it is right now.
Yeah,
and
talking about it.
Yeah, and the tens of millions of units that are now lassoed into this regulatory class that wasn't there for. See, there's lots of places that run equipment, but none of them ever had equipment that surpassed the 50 pounds, right?
Yeah.
And now all their equipment does. So all of a sudden they're in this world of, we have to do what? And they've never paid attention to it before. It didn't apply to them. And it does. It started applying to them on January 1st.
There's large residential heat pumps that have 15 pounds of refrigerant in them. I mean,
to be fair, the EPA did say if it's residential, single family residential, then it's excluded. So, even if you have a 25, for now, even if you have a 25-pound system, but, the hardest part is basically if it's 15 pounds or more, it's a best practice anyway, right? So, you can say, well, it's residential, we don't have to. And, wait, is there a nuance here where I don't have to do this? And the answer might be, it's a residence, you don't have to. The reality is, the whole point is that with all these extra heightened regulations is that we're not letting gas hit the atmosphere, which is bad for the environment, but it's also a waste. right? It's a waste of refrigerant, and refrigerant isn't cheap. So it makes sense to tighten up that piece of equipment anyway. And so if you're going to, following the rule just makes you more environmentally, but also more financially stewardly. I mean, you're just not throwing. It's like I tell my kids, they turn the light off when you leave the room. It's not doing any good to let it sit there and burn. It's not doing any good to let that unit leak all day.
You're eating peanut butter instead of steak tonight.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. There's also I think where you can get where people are going to want to play that game, Adam, is where they light commercial.
Yes.
Right. But
but
they didn't find light commercial. They didn't define it. So everyone's gonna be like, oh, we're light commercial. Right. Like, it had a bad Schrader valve. That's why all the refrigerant left, right? It's always the Schrader valve.
Always.
And we're always light
Every
commercial.
report I've ever seen.
Yeah. So everyone's gonna be like, oh, we're light commercial in order to just opt out. And that's a bad dice to roll. Because the EPA didn't define it. So it means it can be defined however they want it.
Yeah, it'll end up getting defined more clearly in the court of law. And the problem is, even if you win, you've lost.
Think about money.
The moment that you have to go to court to defend yourself and say, no, that was light commercial. Yeah. You're already, the only people who win at that point are the lawyers, right? You've already lost. So
there's PR ramifications to that. There's
let it hit to the news.
Ramifications. There's all sorts of things.
Exactly.
All negative.
And I'm really glad that you guys broke this down, because Lowell, you're right. All right. So Lowell's asking for a link. I put that in. Garrett was saying this is great. This is a 9-page breakdown, because many of these reports, like when we dive into things like 40 CFR, like, we're not talking 9 pages, guys. Like, we're talking hundreds of pages of 6-point font that is in legislator or lawyer print,
lawyer language.
It is. So we're here to help translate this for you. And Nasim, man, I am really glad you're joining us. I would love to know more about the refrigerant regulations and the transitions and just HVAC and refrigeration in general in United Arab Emirates. We've had a significant growth of followers from that area. And so I'm really glad that you're here. There's a lot of things for us to talk international. Remember, this is not just a U.S. conversation. This show, we've done 143 countries from this show and 118 from the podcast, right? This is a world, a community of HVAC, refrigeration, plumbing, just building professionals that are trying to stay up to date, because things change so fast and sometimes things come out and they're so difficult to understand. We're going, wait a minute. And that's what we do. We join here to repaint things with crayons so that we can understand.
You got the right guy for crayons right here.
That's my kind of art.
Going down a little further, FM Heroes is built. We're launching here in the U.S., but it's built with the capability of F-gas rules and global adoption.
Awesome.
You got language things you got to work out, different things on how you do it. And while we're starting here, it's already built in its foundation to handle international regulatory compliance.
What's interesting to me is, I don't know, a little bit of background for those of you who don't know who Les and I are. We were the original founders of Rapid Recovery, which hopefully most of you have heard about. We started that in 2002 and built that business into at the end, and today it's the world's largest refrigerant recovery company. So that organization recovers more gas than any other single organization. And so we built that business up. And along the way, we worked with landfills recovering white goods, and DOD and Navy recovering aircraft carriers, and everything in between. We had guys go on cruise ships and have to do work on them while they were running and operating, because they can't shut the cruise ship down. And so we had teams go on cruises, which sounds really cool until you're stuck on a cruise for 3 weeks. And you're not allowed to go hang out because you're there to work. So they don't let you just go sit on the deck and drink margaritas. But so, I mean, we saw the industry from the wholesaler, from the OEM, from the contractor, from the technician, and in every aspect, from white goods to residential to light commercial, which nobody knows what that means, to heavy industrial, all the way through to super low temp cascade systems that are in mass scale, like low temp buildings, which is -40 C or an Exhibit 40F like room that's 100,000 square feet. I didn't even know that was possible. It is. It's been done. It's wild.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so because we saw that, we also noticed that there was a big documentation challenge with compliance. And really, a lot of the folks go, well, the technician, they're responsible. And the technician says, well, no, my boss, the contractor, they're responsible. And the contractor goes, no, it's the equipment owner, they're responsible. And the wild part about this is everybody's responsible. And it's not like, oh, well, in this case, the equipment owner is. No, they might be responsible for maintaining the documentation on something, but the technician who did the work is responsible for providing it, and they have to provide it correctly, which is spelled out. The contractor who gets that and passes it on has to ensure that it's accurate before they invoice for it. They have a legal responsibility. So like everybody in it, we have a phrase we use all the time, the who is you.
Yeah.
And so in seeing that challenge, we said, well, let's build a tool that makes this work for the tech in the field. And then everybody else is going to get good data, because if it works in the field and you're able to do it while your hands are dirty and you're wearing gloves and you're just trying to get the job done, and it's not complicated and it's not 80 pages of something, it's just like scan, go. So I don't want to get lost in a pitch for Hero. My point is,
I think that's because you're getting me intrigued now. It's like I need to learn more. Like I keep talking to you guys. I have seen some dashboards, but I've not dove deep into your software. But this is why, right? We need to understand the tracking regulations are here, and so we need solutions for doing this. Because I'm telling you, doing it manually and charting all of your cylinders, that's miserable.
It's terrible,
but required in many situations.
Yeah, we want to eliminate that. You know, with the tech using the phone in the field, and then that information just being shared. And now what you don't have is multiple entry points, right? Where you give pass this documentation here, swivel chair it over here. Someone takes this handwritten scribble and types it into a data sheet. That goes away. That creates errors. It creates multiple entries. We've been on job sites where pieces of equipment are listed like 3 times. Well, which one do you apply this service to? Got the same piece of equipment in here.
Exactly.
Yeah. So once you start down that road, it's self-cleaning. Every time someone goes out and does a service using FM Hero, it updates all the information. And at AHR, I was talking to a gentleman who had some information sent over to design a cooling tower, and they gave him all the information. And he goes, but all they did was basically copy and paste, and whoever did it before copied and pasted. So we had it built, we sent it, when they installed it, the contractor installed it. They're having trouble, like, hey, your condenser's not working, and like, I don't think so, but there's something going on. So he goes over there. He goes, well, yeah, you told me it was 404A, but you guys retrofitted and it's 448. Of course it's not working, right? Because the information, the data they had to share was bad. And there's so many levels between the field and their office that they're just taking what's in their current system, and it's not being properly updated because there's too many transitions to get there to update it.
Exactly. So are you tracking the individual piece of equipment then?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every piece of equipment and every service on it.
Sorry, Adam. I was gonna say you can geolocate it on a roof.
Yeah. And
have all the information there. You can look it up by address. You can look it up by serial number. There's all sorts of ways to find that unit in our platform and go back and get all the history. You'll see if you recovered refrigerant out, it'll show the record of what cylinder you recovered the refrigerant into. If you're logging it, and it'll show the transfers of refrigerant going in to each piece of equipment by serial number. So because you're going to select within the platform what cylinder you're going to charge that system with, and then it records that record. So there's a whole chain of custody for those events, which means what? You're going to be more accountable to your refrigerant, which means you're going to use that more efficiently, which means you're going to save money, you're going to be more profitable while solving the regulatory burden.
Clifton, you mentioned earlier the whole cylinder log tracking thing, and it's a pain in the butt, right? Like we go to school and we get this little paper log, and it's like, all right, I have to write down every time I use anything out of it and where it went. And like that whole string of stuff is so easy with technology. And so, inside the platform, like you're doing your normal tasks. You say, hey, I worked on the system and I charged it. And you say, I use this cylinder. and it lowers the cylinder volume automatically and puts it into the asset, the unit or the circuit, right? Because that's another one. The EPA says an appliance is any refrigerated circuit. So a lot of us think in terms of units, but that unit might be 3 appliances,
right?
According to the EPA. So anyway, so there's all these little subtlety nuances that actually make this even harder. Well, when you're done with all this really simple workflow of picking what cylinder you charged from or you recovered into, later on inside the app, you click on the cylinder and you can see exactly how much is in there because it's been moving up and down based on the work you've been doing. But you can also see every movement in and out of that cylinder. So the whole history of that cylinder forever, like the whole history, it got recovered and was put back to zero. All that's in there. So it's really neat. If you accidentally put 2 refrigerants together, it does the math and says it's now 96.3% 410 and oops of whatever, R32 in there. Yeah, it's really.
Yeah, because for those of you who have never, went to grab a recovery cylinder and the tag from the previous guy says, good luck. Right. And we're trying to eliminate those kind of projects.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, let's walk through. So for those that are going, well, what are they talking about with like 15 pounds? Tell us, let's start from ground zero. Like, what does this 15-pound rule apply to?
Yeah, so it's HFCs and HFC substitutes. And what they're talking about is pieces of equipment. So if you walk up to an appliance,
right?
And again, an appliance is a single refrigerated circuit. So if you got a dual circuit unit and each circuit's got 17 pounds in it, that's 2 appliances.
2 appliances.
Now, in like a hero world, we call it a unit, we call it an asset or a system, and it shows both circuits.
Okay.
So it's easy and logical. But anyway, that's the unit, that's the appliance. And you say, okay, if it's got 15 pounds, what does that mean? And so you're looking at it and saying, okay, that means that I have to know a bunch of stuff about this piece of equipment. And then it means you have to track all of the refrigerant movements in and out of it and all the services done to it. So this means that as a contractor, your equipment owner, right, your client is supposed to have this record, this log, every time you touch it. And so they have to keep this log, and you have to give them the documentation so that they can keep the log. So both of you are held accountable for that. And the starting point is, what is it? What is the piece of equipment? Its make, model, serial, or other unique identifier? Where is it? What kind of gas is in it? How much is in it? When it was installed? There's a whole list, right? And we've got that in the document for you, so I don't have to bore you with every line item. But that's the idea: is you have to provide that, and then to them.
Honestly, so what are the comments that came in? Sometimes we think that everyone understands what we're talking about because we talk about it so often. But like Howard says, we typically have to send out 50 emails before somebody says, "Is this for real?"
What?
Right? Right. So.
Yeah.
So like Lowell's made the comment, right? So Lowell tracks everything, right? And so previously we were talking about a system that had 50 pounds of refrigerant from the time that thing is installed till the time that thing is decommissioned. It needs to have a tracking report. There's a lot of legalities. I used to do a industrial apprenticeship program for a large steel manufacturer. And in that, one of the most important things that they had was documentation for service and repair of every piece of equipment, because they actually had an on-site EPA inspector that would come annually and review every one of their reports. And if there was a discrepancy, someone was getting in trouble if it wasn't reported properly. So now we're talking about systems 15 pound. Now we're talking about most commercial rooftop units. We're talking about VRF, VRVs. I mean, we're talking about most pieces of equipment. Once we got down to 15 pounds of refrigerant, there's a lot of people installing 15-pound equipment in light commercial, all commercial applications that you're required to have a documentation set up from installation.
That's right.
That's right.
And this is what we're talking about.
Yep.
Including where that initial charge came from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Was it factory charged with that, or did you put it in there? And if you did, what tank did it come out of?
Yeah, or was it a combination of the two?
Yeah, that's right.
So
I'm actually going to pull that up. We're going to throw that in here. And let me go full screen just so we can break this. We might not even get to AHR. And if we don't, I don't care. This is so much more important to me that, that we help everyone understand. I'm actually going to download this and I'm
You
going to
got it.
I'm going to bring it up though in a separate screen so that I think I can bring that up as a slide. Let me see real quick. Cause if I can, it will make it easier for everybody to see. And I'll put this as a separate link in here as well. So give me just a sec. We'll upload this. I'll grab that PDF link.
While you're doing
Yeah, while you're doing that,
get a kick out of this. Someone was did a quick impromptu interview with me, and they asked me what my favorite refrigerant was at AHR.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't really have favorites. So I'm like, oh, wait. I do. Any refrigerant that gets recovered and back to a reclaimer.
Man, oh man,
and documented.
That is so true.
That's my favorite refrigerant.
A lot of people don't realize how far we are already in to the HFC phase down, right? 2028 is going to be a kick in the butt for every contractor. And I've already worked with distributors that are telling their contractors that if you're not reporting, if you're not reporting the refrigerant that you're purchasing and the recovered refrigerant that you're bringing back to me, I'm not going to be able to sell you the quantities that you're going to want going forward because I'm going to be required to be bringing back recovered refrigerant like we're supposed to do all the time. Right. So there's a lot of changes happening in the industry that is new to a lot of people, or they've kind of forgotten.
we're going to get walloped with that. And ultimately all this leak loss stuff is really drives down to, we got to capture this stuff so that we can reclaim it, so that we can reuse it. It really comes down to service gas in the long run.
It does.
And when 2028 hits, when 2030 hits, if you think that you're going to be able to get 410A, you're going to have a real hard time because there's just not going to be enough of it, or the price point's going to be so high, it's not, you won't be able to afford to get it. Your client, your customer won't be able to. And it's because we're not sending back as an industry nearly enough into a reclaim stream in order to turn it back into a usable product. Right. And
so not that many traders are leaking.
Yeah.
Or missing.
I've talked to 2 of the reclaimers, and I know what they're telling me. What are you guys seeing in the industry? Because I'm seeing less than 3%.
Yeah, that's right. It fluctuates. I mean, it depends on whose math you're looking at. Okay. The highest number I've heard is 6. Yeah, and it's typically somewhere between 3 and 4 is the math that kind of holds water. And if you're talking about 3 or 4%, I mean, round it to a nice 5 for the easy math. I mean, at that point, what's 1 more percent? It's just you're 95% short.
95% of all refrigerants sold never come back. Think about that. Everyone listening, think about that just for a second. On the safe side, okay, we can all joke about those gas and goes to keep the systems up and running. We can all joke about leaking. We've all had them, right? We're not pointing blame because we are all to blame. 95% of the refrigerants that we install never come back.
It's a shockingly big number.
It's scary to think about, especially when we understand the consequences. And
people will pay you for it.
People are paying for it where we used to have to pay. I used to have to pay $75 to drop off a cylinder. Yeah. Now I might make $75 off of my cylinder, maybe even more. Yeah. David, absolutely. Yeah, we encourage you. Yeah, I threw that link. Oh, no, I didn't. There is the link for the download for this PDF.
That's your local, though.
That one?
Yes.
Anyone that one looks like it's your C drive. I don't think they're getting that one.
Oh, anyone can feel free to use this information from the website. If you're a school, we'll work with you on getting you set up for your students.
2 points for this. One, if you're wondering, if you guys are working on any bigger equipment at all, on this 15 pounds or greater, you need to be the knowledge expert for your customers, your clients.
Right.
And you can use this white paper. It's free. Like I said, it's not gated. Pull it down and walk them through what their obligations are and explain that you're providing them what you're required to, so that you're a good partner, right? You've helped them understand they have this risk You're helping them by solving this risk for them. And that should be a sales opportunity. If you haven't considered that, you might have clients that have these units all over their roof or down in their basement. A lot of what we're hearing right now is people out doing site surveys, where they're just going out to their clients' locations and capturing this information. And again, if you're, a little selfless plug here, or selfish plug, download the app and use the app to do it. It's super easy. You walk up, you scan a unit, it pulls in the make, model, serial, refrigerant types, weights, all of that. You step back, you take a picture so you can see it in the system and easily, right? Because you have a video or a picture reference for it.
Right.
And you're capturing all those things that were required on this first page in one shot, really fast and easy, including a geolocated precision point of where it is in this building. So doing site survey, and again, the mobile app part of that is free. So you can do that with a mobile app and gather this information. We obviously have paid solutions that are awesome, but
yeah, absolutely. Because there's a lot to it from there. I mean, it's one thing to gather the information. The other, it's to be able to provide a solution, for that product, right? The life cycle of that piece of equipment to the business, the owner of the equipment itself, as well as from a contractor perspective. Like if I want to save money, let me tell you, there's a lot of refrigerant. I'm not going to say a lot. There is some refrigerant that comes off from a service fan that never makes it into the contractor's customer's equipment. Okay. Right. I'll say it. It happens. And so as a contractor, it's also a means of being able to track the refrigerant that I am purchasing for my technicians as well. So that's one of the most common. Pay for itself.
Yeah. That's one of the most common questions.
Refrigerant, you'll become more profitable by managing that asset better because it's expensive, and you'll bring yourself into compliance at the same time.
Yeah. The one of the most common things we hear from the contractor side in the documentation stream is, I bought a pallet of this gas, or I bought whatever quantity, and where did it go?
Right.
I bought 1,000 pounds of it, and I only got to sell 600. Where's my 400 pounds? I mean, that's a lot of money.
Where did it go?
Yeah. And it's walking out the back door, or it's being left in heels that are not getting recovered, which is also illegal.
Another big one. Yeah. If you don't think it's a big impact to your bottom dollar right now, you just watch as this HFC slide continues. And I think all contractors, residential, commercial, industrial, all contractors are going to start getting very tight on their documentation of refrigerant use. And this is the tool that not only tracks your refrigerant use, but so much more. I mean, it's applied to the equipment. Like the refrigerant use is a small part of what you're getting out of the total package, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's very in depth, and it's built from a level regardless of whether the regulations get more restrictive or loosen up a little bit, either direction. And they might go back and forth. It's already built to handle that. Adam looked into a situation in Washington where they have some some proprietary stuff, I guess you'd call it, right? They have different requirements where you can't do some. And when we looked into it, it's like, we don't need to change a thing. Our system, our platform is already capable of doing that. We just changed the way we report it. So it's just a report change.
Earlier, the international discussion came up, and basically the concepts that we're talking about while we're detailing the CFRs here in the US and the exact ruling, there are differences between here and Germany or the UK or Australia or whatnot, but the concepts are all the same.
Absolutely.
And so tracking that refrigerant from the time of purchase through the equipment that it's installed into, from the equipment it's removed from, and back to reclamation is the same. That concept is global. That's the Montreal Protocol is global, and so all these countries have written their own nuance to it, but the core root of it is the same: keeping gas from being vented and tracking the life cycle of the gas and the equipment. And so, just for those who are might be international on here and going, well, it's a little different here. The concepts that we're talking about are the same.
Same. Some countries are much more advanced with their tracking and reclamation. Some have not quite caught up, but what we are here to do is to be the example, like to show you the importance, not just from the regulatory aspect, but from the environmental aspect. We have to be very realistic. Now, and I'm not going to voice my opinion on either side of the aisle from a political stance. I will voice my opinion as a father, as a parent, hopefully someday a grandparent, maybe even someday a great grandparent. I look at the way that we can impact the world around us and the environment around us is high. And I don't think enough of the general population understands the effects of a fluorinated refrigerant breakdown in the atmosphere. I don't think the world has paid enough attention to our impact, because think about this. If we are shocked that 95% of the refrigerant is released into the atmosphere, which decomposes into hazardous chemicals in a variety of different ways, how would the rest of the world feel about it when they find out that we know that it does, and that we haven't made significant steps to make those changes?
Yeah.
It feels like the old tobacco industry, right? Where we know our product kills, but we tell everybody it doesn't, and we pretend we're not until it comes out, and then it's like, how did anybody believe that, right? The stuff is not great.
Yeah. Let me come up with a new one, and it'll be it's the end. It's the green one. And then a decade later, we go, oh crap, we went the wrong direction. Let's go another way. Right?
Yeah, we haven't even started talking about PFAS. I mean, we're in for a whole new world when we start talking about PFAS. This is what's coming next.
Are we going there?
No, we're not going there now.
We better go slow on that one.
No, we'll
slow down. You just go, hey, you know what? It's got no shelf life. Like, you can use it as long as you're bringing it back in. So like Adam was talking about, just turn your lights off so you're not burning it. It's just being a good steward.
Absolutely.
Right. Here's this thing, no shelf life, completely reusable. Be a good steward of that product.
Yep. Steward is a wonderful term for what we are. We are stewards of our environment. And as long as we keep the refrigerants in the system where they're supposed to, like, they don't harm anything.
That's right.
When they're in the system, or they're recovered from the system and reprocessed in a new refrigerant, it's when we let them out.
Right.
Like we always say here, and yes, Scott, once we get there, when those regs, whatever those regs end up being, like we're just now in the, what are we going to change? Like we're in the exploratory stage right now with the EPA. When we get there, we will be back and we talk about that. But my point of it is, what is this? What is the entire scope of the EPA 608? Don't let it out.
Don't let it out. It starts with the very first thing, the no vent.
Whether you're
don't vent it now.
Contractor or the equipment owner, fix the leak. Right? It's costing you money in your utility bill. It's costing you money in gas. It's costing you money in emergency service. Sometimes it's costing money in product loss, and you want to think it's no big deal. But not only if you just looked at it from a stewardship level, you'd take care of it, and you'd be more profitable, because all those other things that are taking away your profits would not be doing that.
Yeah.
Grocery stores are a good example of this, because they're highly, everybody's highly regulated, but they're highly enforced. They're the group, other than the scrappers, they're the group that has the highest level of enforcement.
Yep.
And what happens as these grocery chains become compliant and they start to implement the regulations, first, they don't want to, right? Because they feel like, oh no, it's going to cost me a ton of money. I'm going to have way more service calls. I got to get these guys out all the time. They push back on the rules. But what happens is, as they enter compliance, they find out that their profitability goes up, not down.
Exactly.
Because they're not losing so much gas. They're not spending so much time on emergency calls. They're not spending so much on lost product when the ice cream rack goes down, the low temp rack goes down, and now you lose product. And so what's the cost of that?
Yeah.
And you're dry icing, so then your customers can't buy. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And so what's happening is, as those folks are adopting the regulatory rules, they're finding that it actually is to their bottom line benefit. And that's also true with that dual circuit, 18 pound per circuit, 15 pound a circuit rooftop unit, or that single circuit 30 pound unit. You're talking about a box car. Button that bad boy, and it shouldn't be a leaker. It's not going to be as bad as those remote condenser lines that are running all over. But but keep it up and running, find the leaks, repair them. It ends up costing less in the long run.
Yeah. Also, if you're a educator and you have a class, right, we'll set you up with a workspace. It won't cost you anything.
Oh,
that way you can do that. You can get your students using it, and then they know all of this information when they go out into the work field. And we're happy to do that and help the education facilities to utilize it and get them using it before they get out in the field and they have all the information available to them.
If you're an educator, well, we'll be at Excellence. So certainly hit us up at Excellence, HVAC Excellence Conference, and we'll get you set up right there, walk you through it. If you're not going to be there, you can reach out to us. We can set your school up with, again, a free platform. Instead of handing your students a book that they'll never use when they leave, we give them the app for free. We give you a tool to help train them in how to do correct and proper documentation for free, so that when they go hit the workforce, they're already doing the right thing and they know how to do it and they keep doing it. It's really important to us. I mean, we spent millions of dollars to develop this thing, and then we give it away to technicians because we believe in the hard work they're doing. I mean, we've lived it. I was the guy when I started in this industry. I was out sucking out refrigerators at the landfill. So like, I get how hard it is, and working in residential, I get how hard it is to care about documentation. You just want to get the job done and go home.
Yeah. Beyond that, as a technician, you're required to maintain documentation, and there's no practical way for you to actually accomplish that until FM Hero. Like, you're not going to go do your long day, get all your repairs done, and then go home and build spreadsheets separate than your organization that's paying you. Right? Like, that's not happening. So this free tool from through FM Hero allows you to stay compliant. You'll be done with it before you even leave the job site. Like, you'll be done with it and before you're done with your paperwork to do the invoice, right? And then as long as you do it, you're compliant and you have all your records, and it's free, and it is a practical way that you will never have to fail an audit.
That's right. Clifton, you've had they are on every level. Just defending yourself is expensive, much less what could come if you fail. You've had Keely on. Keely Whitman, right?
One of our best watched podcasts, for sure.
Yeah, Keely rocks. She's for those who don't know, she was a former EPA regulator, turned consultant to help people, particularly in the food retail space, manage the rules, understand them, and become compliant. And she's a huge voice in the industry, at least in that section of it. And we were talking the other day, and Keely said, she has a client that had they were down to like 400 refrigerated appliances. And now after January 1, they have 47,000.
Oh, because of the 50 to the 15.
Correct.
That's right. And the 50 was only ODS. So, it wasn't HFCs yet. So the 15 also brought in all the HFCs. So if you had retrofitted all your old 22 racks in an HFC, you got out of having to do all the leak loss for tracking and all that.
Walk-in coolers, walk-in freezers. I mean, just so many
products.
So maybe you had like 10,000 and went down to 400 because you had retrofitted and upgraded and all that. And now you're at 47,000. It's not like you went back to what it was. You like quadrupled your worst case previous scenario. And that's the world that these guys are living in. And that all of our honestly, any commercial building out there's got these systems on it that are going to be over 15 pounds. And so it's really, really important that as the professionals that we are called to be for our customers, that we're helping them understand the rules that they are now under that they may not be aware of. So educate them so that they know, and then provide a solution. And you are the solution, right? You're already providing them the right kind of equipment for the right scenario, the right indoor air quality tools, and all the rest. This is one of those things that you're providing as a contractor and technician in the market.
And that hence our name, Facilities Management Hero.
Absolutely. Man, that's some good stuff, guys.
I would love to quickly go over one of the most messed up parts of this. With the 15-pound rule, this whole leak loss rate thing is what is kind of the crux of it. It comes, really when you dive in, that's where the regs really get long-winded. And so I want to boil this down. A leak loss rate takes all the refrigerant added over a 365-day period.
Okay.
So if you charge it, every month because it's leaking, or you charge it one big time or whatever, anything that happened in the last 3, it rolls. So it's every day it's moving, right? Every day. And so it looks at the last 365 days and it says, add up all the charge events, take that and divide it by the total charge. And that tells you then, okay, this becomes a number, and you multiply that by 100, you get a percentage. And you say it's now X percent. And then if that percentage goes over a certain level, so for comfort cooling,
10, 20 or 30.
10, 20 or 30. So comfort cooling's 10, refrigeration's 20, and IPC's 30. And that's at the federal level. I mean, you talk about Washington, it's 24, 16, and 8. So, I mean, there's different things for different states. But when you cross those thresholds, now you have to do something different. You have to fix it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so the sequence is pretty straightforward. You charged it, the number, that calculated rate jumped, and it crossed the mark, crossed that, say, 10% or 20%, whichever type of equipment you're working on. Let's talk about comfort cooling. Let's just say you crossed 10%. So now you're at 11.1 or whatever the number is. You now are required by law, you as the technician and the contractor are required to notify the equipment owner, and they're required to get it fixed. Yep. They have 30 days. So they don't have to use you, but they have to do it. Here's the sequence. You repair it. You have to inspect it after the repair, so make sure that what you did worked. Then you have to bring it back to normal operation, which often means you put some gas in it. That's what caused the leak rate to register, because you added gas. And then you said, okay, now I got to fix it. So you have to section off a piece of pipe, whatever it might be, repair the elbow, the rub out, whatever it is. And then you typically end up fixing it. You check it, you inspect it. Then you end up charging it with a little bit more gas to get it back to full normal operating parameters. Mm-hmm. And then you follow-up verify it. Now there's timelines with all this. You have 30 days to do the whole thing. You have 10 days from the repair to the final verification. So that window can get shorter than 30, by the way, right? If you do this in the order, you could end up with a 10-day window total instead of 30. Mm-hmm. Or you could do it all in one day. There's nothing against that. But once you do that follow-up verification, that resets the leak loss rate to 0. So that's the sequence, and that's the legal required sequence. You don't get to sidestep it. So if you do all that and you say, well, I inspected it after I fixed the leak, so it's good. You didn't do a follow-up verification. You didn't reset it, and that equipment is still illegal. Yep. So you have to follow that sequence of steps, or it doesn't reset. So, I mean, again, go ahead, Lance.
There's the two pieces of it, right? There's you can be in non-compliance for the service side, you didn't do it. And you could be in compliance for the documentation side, you didn't document it.
Right.
If you don't do either, you got both.
Yeah.
If you do this repair and you don't document it, you still have that one.
Yeah.
Think about this for just a minute. The current fines they're all tied to tied to inflation. The current fine right now is $59,114 per incident per day. Right. So if you've got one system that's out of compliance for a month, that's $60,000 a month. Right? How fast do you hit $1 million?
In a hurry.
And we have an article in that resources guide called the $1 million cap, because somebody forgot to tighten the cap down and the Schrader leaked, and you you didn't repair it, you didn't turn in the paperwork, right? And so they didn't know that it had a leak, and so you end up having this one problem where somebody didn't turn in the paperwork to go fix the problem that we were missing a cap, and they had to go back to put a cap on it. That's it. It could have been that simple. And within a couple of weeks, it turned into $1 million fine. Mm-hmm. It's just wild to think about how significant this is. So
it's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, again, the tool that we're using, the app does all this tracking. It calculates leak loss rates for you. It tells you the sequence. It does the resets when you do it right. It tells you what the next step is in case you don't know. Yeah. So all that's built into it. And again, the goal here is you've got to have a tool to do it. You can do it on a pen and paper. You can do it in a spreadsheet. You can do it on the back of a napkin. You can do it in a grease pencil on the side of a bottle or the side of the unit, but you have to do it. And then the equipment owner has to maintain documentation. So wherever you did it on a napkin or on the unit, then you got to take a picture and supply the picture. Or you got to give the client the napkin because they have to have it.
Yeah. imagine when you walk up to a system and you have to do it and you go, this is going to require a charge. And you can already see on your phone, the leak loss percentage is at 7%.
Right.
You go,
I can schedule from
maybe
here
before I
when I'm
charge
coming
this, I
back.
should, you can maybe head that off without having to go into that portion of it by having a conversation before the service, get the approval and just repair it and not, and never hit that mark. So, but you would know ahead of time, because outside of this, there's no way to know. No one's charting down on their equipment where the last leak was, right? And that's how people get in trouble, because that doesn't work now. They've already done that. I retrofitted it in black marker to 448, right? But nobody else knows.
Nobody else knows.
No one knows.
And if you charge a system that goes beyond the leak rate knowingly, that is a no vet prohibited act. You're not allowed to. So this whole like gas and go concept is gone, because knowingly charging systems that are in this category, 15 pounds or greater, that leak is illegal. Like once you get there, it has to be fixed before you can do that again. You cannot just keep throwing gas at it.
That's
so
an
you're
area
doing it is against the law. You violate no vet doing that.
Yeah, that's an area where I could see a technician getting harassed a bit individually from the EPA and having some punitive stuff, like knowingly charging systems that are, realistically, I see that
actively leaking.
Yeah.
Yep. I had one incident. No, go ahead. So we have a few
I want to hear it. I want to hear this now. Now you got me. That was a good hook.
Is it confession time, Clifton?
Confession time.
All right. We're switching gears to confessions. I'm going to opt out.
So, I spent most of my career in grocery refrigeration, right? That's what I was doing before I got into education. And, I worked on some large grocery stores, and the one in particular, it was a grocery store here in Indiana. And it's an R22 system, so medium temp. So this, large, it's 170,000 square foot base. So this is a large grocery store, and two racks, low temp, medium temp. So one rack for all of your frozen, one rack for all of your coolers. Rack one, so your medium temp had a refrigerant leak on one of the coils, one of the produce coils that had a leak on it. Leak detection didn't find it for a while. Now we were required to do monthly walk leak checks and annual entire case leak checks as our requirements. We went above and beyond EPAs. We had to track everything, all the way down to, it didn't matter. Like if you were working on a 1 pound system and you added 6 ounces, it was getting tracked. But on this one particular unit, it had a leak for a while, didn't get detected, right? So the leak was found, fixed the leak internally, right? We found the leak. We actually did the repair, about 300 pounds low for the rack, pretty significant chunk. And came back for initial inspection, everything passed. And before our follow-up, we had, over the weekend, we had a failure on one of the compressors, and a subcontractor came in to do a repair, replace the valve plate on one of the compressors. There's like 12 compressors on this rack. Replaces one of the valve plates, doesn't torque the head bolts properly. And in the middle of the night on the weekend, head gasket blows, and we lost 1,400 pounds of R22. So we had a 1,700 pound refrigerant loss on a 1,400 pound system within 60 days.
Wow.
And the very first question, our retiring crew is sitting around there after we, grab every 100 pound, because we recycled our own refrigerants. Like every time rooftops came down, we used back then rapid recovery. We recycled all of our refrigerant internally as much as we could under the 608 stipulations. We owned it. We reused it and sent it to different locations. Everyone scrambled to come up with 1,400 pounds of R22 on a Saturday night. And so we're all gathered around in the rack room. Everything's done. Whoo, things back up and running, right?
Yeah.
And then the silence. Who's going to fill out the report? The last thing you want to do is to have to fill out those reports, because there was an EPA inspection of that particular system, and they were fine combing for everything that had happened along that entire system. So we actually submitted ours digitally, and the EPA reached out within 30 days and wanted a complete report. And so we were compliant because we had did proper reporting along the way. Everything had been properly documented. And we didn't get into the point of having fines, but our attorney team was involved to verify that all of our documentation was proper, because they knew what could potentially be coming if things weren't done properly.
Yeah, and probably some uneasy sleep nights.
Yeah. And an oily rack room. That thing was a mess.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you hanging out with us. And, we'll come back. We'll talk about AHR next week. We've been putting out little videos showing everyone some of the clips. It's a lot of fun. Everyone go to our LinkedIn, to our social media. You'll see a bunch of posts about AHR. Maybe we'll do some detail next week, because this is so much more important. I'm so glad we stayed on this topic. I encourage everyone to reach out to FM Hero. I put some links into the chat. I've got the one that gets you over to the downloadable equipment owner compliance guide. And if you don't have that direct one, just hop on over to fmhero.com, and that will get you to all of the resources that you need. And come join us at the National HVACR Education Conference. You can hang out with the guys. They've always got some fun stuff set up for the conference. Yep. We always have a good time. We'd love to help you be more successful.
We'll have cornhole again this year, so you can come by and play cornhole with us, if nothing else. We'll have a little competition.
Yeah, we'll see you there. Looking forward to that.
Cool. Well, thank you, everyone. Yeah, we're glad that you all enjoyed this. Osvaldo, I hope that we're helping you be more aware from the international perspective of, there's a lot of people out here that's trying to help you. And man, now that's saying a lot. I appreciate that, because we did this one on a limb. Like, you all wouldn't know that I've got Les texting me, and I'm sitting on the tarmac, and he's like, "Hey, are we still going to be able to do this show? And do we need to have some materials for you?" And I'm like, you know what, guys? You guys are so good. I think we can wing it and get through this show. I've got a ton of AHR content. If we need to, we'll do half the show AHR, half of it on the refrigerant regulation changes, and that'll be plenty of content. And look at us, a whole hour. And I don't even think we got deep enough into the requirements. I think we could dive like the entire process and do a demo sometime.
Yeah. You guys want to do that? Great. We'll happy to do it.
I think
love to do it.
Yeah. And come see us at the Educator Conference. We'll be doing them there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey,
thank you, Clifton. Thanks for having us on. We got to get you on our. We have a fun podcast we do called Chill Under Pressure. We'll have to get you on
Under Pressure. I've heard a bunch of them. I would love to join you sometime. Maybe we'll come up with a fun scenario like one of.
Well, I only have one requirement. That's it. Yeah, I only have one requirement, and that's it. We talk about your building guitars. You're gonna have some guitars there.
I do.
I know.
I know. I'll do that.
You're all about it.
I may do one from the wood shop sometime.
That'd be sweet.
I've got everything set up, lights and everything down there to where I can broadcast from the studio. I've done some guitar building videos. Maybe
so when you're coming on with us, that will be one of the things I will bring.
Yeah, that's what we want to know about you.
Have a couple by your side.
Come out. I've actually got a foot control and all of the accessories in the mobile studio. I've even got a guitar in the mobile studio now.
Oh, nice. I love it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Everyone, have a wonderful evening, and we will see you all again next week on Did You Know, the ESCO HVAC show. Bye, everybody.
See ya. Thank you.